All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us today for this webinar that is being hosted by Elanco on strategies for creating a customized intestinal integrity program. I'm Minda Cook. I will be your moderator for today's webinar, and I just have a couple things I want to go over with you all before Francine dives into our content for today. So this afternoon, Francine will be sharing how having a broader range of poultry health solutions to create a customized disease prevention plan helps producers maintain intestinal integrity in their flocks and avoid performance shortfalls. Before I hand things over to Francine, there's just a few housekeeping items I wanted to share with you all, as well as give a brief overview of Elanco. So as you probably heard, the webinar is being recorded, and this presentation will be shared with everyone at the conclusion of the presentation today. If you have any questions, please feel free to submit those to myself via the Q&A chat function, and we'll cover those questions at the end of the presentation. And just a quick overview of Elanco. So Elanco is a global leader in animal health dedicated to innovating and delivering products and services to prevent and treat disease in farm animals and pets. They are a company that is driven by the vision of food and companionship enriching life and their Elanco Healthy Purpose framework. The Elanco U.S. Poultry division provides an expansive range of effective products, services, and people to provide tailored solutions to keep birds healthy and operations running smoothly. Their portfolio of solutions includes intestinal integrity, vaccines, insecticides, nutritional health, and food safety. Our presenter today is Dr. Francene Van Sambeek. She is a graduate of Michigan State University. Her areas of expertise include broiler and broiler breeder intestinal integrity, vaccines, and animal welfare. She works closely with customers to provide intestinal integrity program planning support. Thank you so much, Francine, for being with us today, and I will hand things over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Minda. So in order to save a little bit of bandwidth, I am going to go ahead and end my video, but you'll still be able to see the slides. So let's get right into it. So when we talk about intestinal integrity program planning, we've got to consider that poultry producers think about their intestinal integrity program all year, but they typically plan 12 to 18 months in advance. So that's why it's important for producers to be open to making adjustments or reevaluating the program if they need, because we do want to plan in advance. Things that impact those adjustments could be gut health, which plays an absolutely vital role in nutritional absorption, development of immunity, and disease resistance in the birds. When intestinal health is compromised, it ultimately will impact feed intake and feed conversion, leading to economic losses. When producers are experiencing performance losses, one of the first considerations is whether adjustments need to be made to their current anticoccidial plan, because the birds may be experiencing resistance to the current plan. When we look at the program planning for intestinal integrity, there are several components we've got to consider for it to be a really well thought out and customized intestinal integrity program. 4 items include management strategies on how we take care of the house, a carefully planned product program and rotation of those products. We'll take a look at how the Intestinal Integrity Index, or the I2 index, can be used to evaluate these programs. And then finally, looking at bird performance itself. So over the next couple of slides, I'm going to dive deeper into each of these areas. The first area we're going to look at is management strategies. So when we talk management strategies, it's important to consider how they are impacted all year, but become especially important in the winter and early spring, because that's when coccidiosis, or cocci, is the most challenging. When we look at ventilation, we have to look at when temperatures start to drop, and maintaining ventilation and keeping the litter dry becomes especially challenging. Obviously, ventilation requires the use of fans, which brings in fresh air from outside into the poultry house. Now, during the winter, these fans are bringing in cool, damp air into the houses, and that can certainly counteract attempts to maintain a house environmental temperature that's good for the birds. How well a producer manages litter quality in the winter actually affects their performance into the next season as well. Another point is making sure that the birds get off to a good start shortly after placement in the houses. This impacts how we can establish intestinal integrity. By walking the houses several times during the day, we encourage the birds to move to feed and move to water, and that helps establish good gut health from the very start. If birds are challenged at the beginning, they are more likely to face challenges for the rest of the grow out. Another consideration is, do we have the correct bird densities for the size of the bird that we're trying to produce, and also the kind of production system that we are in? Do we have adequate floor space for those birds? Do we have good availability to feeder pans and drinker lines? Do we have migration fences in the houses to keep the birds evenly spaced? And are we making sure to maintain our houses so that fans are working and all of the feeder pans and drinkers are working appropriately? Another area to consider is biosecurity. Raising healthy poultry involves more than just caring for the birds themselves. It extends to creating a healthy environment in which they can grow and thrive. Having pest and rodent management strategies in place is important because pests and rodents can host and transmit diseases from one flock to the next. And that causes decreases in growth, in productivity, and increases in mortality. The farm workers themselves can pick infectious diseases up on their boots and track them into the houses themselves. These diseases can negatively impact the bird's immune system and reduce their ability to respond to coccidiosis. So poultry houses should have dedicated areas or anterooms that are located outside of the house where producers and service techs and visitors can put on protective coveralls and boots, and then even step into pans of disinfecting powder before they enter the barn. Let's go ahead and look at the next area, which is around program rotations. We want to have very carefully planned product rotations. There are many health solutions that are now available to help support intestinal integrity. And some of those products include the ionophores, which have been around for decades now. They're great because they can be used year round and people are very familiar with their usage. Another category would be chemicals, which typically can be used all year with the exception of a straight nicarbazine program, which should only be used in the cool weather months due to its effect on the heat stress of the birds. Vaccines have typically been utilized in the spring and summer. We are seeing some continued usage into the fall and winter, but typically they're used in the spring and summer. And then of course, antibiotics, which can be used year round. When you're choosing the right program, it is important to have a really well-planned rotational strategy. That's critical to ensure that your flocks respond maximally to whatever intervention you choose. We do recommend that producers rotate their program no more than 3 times each year. And that helps with overall planning process, management, improving the gut integrity of the bird performance itself, as well as coccidiosis control. When vaccine programs are used, like I said, typically we use them in the late spring and summer. Producers really should consider using their best and most successful programs in the winter. One of the most effective programs uses a combination of a chemical and an ionophore. This combination delivers optimal protection to the bird's intestinal integrity. Another common winter anticoccidial program features nicarbazine starter with Coban in the grower and finisher feeds. This program has become a standard in the industry because Coban offers a flexible dose range, a 0-day withdrawal, and is a proven and reliable anticoccidial. Addressing the no antibiotics ever, or the NAE programs, producers generally consider using chemical programs and then supplementing with vaccine programs. Now, looking at how do we utilize intestinal integrity index scores? Poultry producers can benefit from the I2 index in several ways. One of the simplest things is that it simplifies a very complex set of lesions into one easy to digest score for gut health. That intestinal integrity index provides an overall picture, if you will, or metric of broiler and turkey intestinal integrity. With the help of an Elanco technical consultant, we can track and benchmark the health of customers' birds over time. We can evaluate a broad range of health conditions, and we can identify potential health issues early. Many producers put a lot of stake into their I2 index scores. Using this data, we can easily analyze the historical trends, such as the Anticoccidial program that they were utilizing, and what other challenges they're facing at different times to help plan for future programs. These health and performance insights can be a contributor to data-driven flock health management and really help identify specific health issues that may follow a seasonal trend. This leads to more strategic and targeted interventions. One example of how the intestinal integrity index scores have been validated is if in a posting session, you identify intestinal lesions that lower the I2 index score of a flock from, say, 100 down to 90. Previously, the Elanco Health Tracking System, or HTS for shorthand, we do a data analysis, and that has found that a 1-point decrease in the I2 index score has been shown to drop the feed conversion ratio by 13 thousandths. An I2 index score of 90 could then indicate a loss of 1.3 points of feed conversion, which in the modern day production system equates to around 1 cent of additional cost per bird. The Elanco technical consultants use the I2 index score to provide recommendations on next approaches in key areas like designing appropriate coccidiosis control strategies based on the production system that you are trying to utilize. Of course, every situation is unique, whether you're trying to raise birds without using antibiotics, or the final size of the birds, or previous programs that you've already utilized. So by looking at the I2, we can help plan for some of those activities. Other things that impact I2 scores would be how do we manage our litter? With the current practice of maybe reducing litter once a year, keeping litter in good shape is critical. If it's too wet, the cocci will rapidly reproduce, leading to very high coccidial challenges. Excess moisture can also impact the birds due to high ammonia levels, and that leads to welfare concerns in addition to just the production loss that will be experienced. Getting the baby chicks off to a good start is critical in having the best life of flock livability and allowing the birds to fully develop their digestive tracts to allow full utilization of the feed. And then, of course, with the ventilation, that fresh air is so critical that it be adequately heated or cooled as needed in order to keep the respiratory system of the birds in top shape and also to maximize oxygen for growth. The next area I'd like to look at is around posting sessions. And our technical consultants have found that one of the best proactive approaches to monitoring intestinal integrity is to conduct posting sessions. We recommend scheduling posting sessions about every 8 to 10 weeks. And during a posting session, an Elanco technical consultant evaluates all of the bird's organ systems. Overall bird health, in addition to gut health, is assessed. This data is used to make any necessary adjustments to the program. When we're conducting a posting session, especially in the wintertime. Elanco TCs look very closely at the bird's air sacs, the trachea, and the lungs. By looking at these three areas, that helps us determine if the house is receiving proper ventilation. We also make sure to see if the birds have any ammonia burns on their eyes, because of course this is a dead giveaway of poor ventilation. Looking at foot pad assessments is an indicator of litter conditions in the poultry house. And of course, we also look to see how many cocci lesions are present in the intestinal tract. By taking all of these variables, we can then benchmark, or by comparison to national average or regional average around any of the specific intestinal scores that we look at, the producer can then see how well they are competing against similarly placed production systems. And of course, we need to address if there's opportunities in portfolio expansion. Coccidiosis and gut health are two of the top concerns for poultry producers. Elanco has been a leader in intestinal integrity for many years, and we're committed to continue to advance new solutions that provide poultry producers with the highest quality products to help deliver the best in animal care. The recent portfolio expansion in the US allows Elanco to better serve our NAE customers and also provides a broader suite of solutions to both the conventional broiler and turkey producers. Two of those recent interventions have been two antibiotic alternative intestinal integrity products. One is called ZoaShield and one is called Clinicox. When producers use ZoaShield and Clinicox, or any of the Elanco intestinal products, they receive consultative support from Elanco field experts who have extensive industry experience and knowledge that allows them to tailor solutions to all types of poultry operations. ZoaShield and Clinicox represent 2 of 5 new farm animal product launches that are expected in 2021 for the continued product portfolio expansion. Looking specifically at ZoaShield, ZoaShield is a new zoline option that prevents and keeps cocci under control and promotes intestinal integrity in broilers, turkeys, and replacement chickens. ZoaShield is non-seasonal. It's a non-antibiotic anticoccidial that gives poultry producers the flexibility to use it in a wide variety of programs. It acts like an ionophore-like chemical, and it can be used for multiple cycles, which makes it great for NAE programs. This product was launched in Q2 of this year. Next product that we look at is Clinicox. Clinicox is a potent anticoccidial chemical and can be used for all broiler and turkey production types, especially NAE. And Elanco did launch this product back in Q1 of this year. This is a potent chemical and can be used to reset the I2 index scores for extreme cocci challenges. After treatment with Clinicox, you can certainly then use a weak chemical or a vaccine program, or even an ionophore in a conventional broiler system. We do recommend, though, that you only use this product for 1 cycle in order to minimize any risk of the coccidia developing resistance. So to review some of the key takeaways from today, there are several components to a well thought out intestinal integrity program. And those include the management strategies, or how do we deal with the house environment these animals live in. We also need to consider a carefully planned program of programs and product rotations in order to maximize our interventions. By utilizing intestinal integrity index scores through the evaluations of the birds and then benchmarking, we can see how our programs are holding up and if we do need to make any changes. And then finally, we do need to look at bird performance just to see how the birds are responding to our interventions. With solutions available to the poultry producers, and especially the NAE producers with the expanded portfolio, it's really an exciting time to be working for Elanco and being able to provide these solutions to our customers. So, Minda, I believe with that, I will take any questions that may have come in.
Yes, thank you so much, Francine, for sharing that information with us today. We did have a couple of questions that came through, and so I'll just go through those here one at a time. And the first question was, for producers who have antibiotic restrictions, how can these two new products that you just talked about fit into their program?
That's a great question, Minda. You know, not every operation wants to or can use vaccines, ionophores, antibiotics all of the time or ever to help keep their birds healthy. So they need effective alternatives that can work for the needs of their operations, and in some cases enable them to market their birds to the consumers in a different way or the way that they would like to. ZoaShield can be used as a straight program across all feeds and can be used for multiple cycles. It can also be used in a rotation with Clinicox if you want to do a shuttle program. Clinicox can be used to reset an anticoccidial control program where there may have been a higher challenge, and then from there you can transition back to a weak chemical or a vaccine program if you choose.
All right, thank you. The next question that we got, Francine, is, you discussed that it's important to limit program rotations to no more than 3 times a year. If program rotations are not necessary, how long can a producer stay on their anticoccidial program before they need to make a change?
Another really good question. We have seen some producers be able to stay with the same anticoccidial program for up to 5 to 7 years without any negative issues. It really depends on the type of program you're trying to run, whether it's conventional or NAE, and what else you're trying to do with that bird. Depends a bit on bird size and how much downtime you have. Other bird health issues that may be impacting your bird health, such as co-infection with infectious bursal disease or inclusion body hepatitis. These are all areas that can impact the overall bird health, and that's going to impact how long you can run some of these programs.
Okay, great. And then one other question we got was, if anyone was interested in getting additional information on any of these products you talked about today or the services you mentioned that Elanco provides, what's the best way to reach out?
Oh, yeah. We actually invite you to explore our portfolio of solutions online at elanco.us. That's elanco.us. Or reach out and schedule an interview with myself or any one of our other TC staff. We also have a team of experienced sales representatives that are available for portfolio discussions, product discussions, or really any other kind of management discussions that you'd like to have with our team.
Okay, and then our last question that we got is related to the I2 index. How long has Elanco been tracking the I2 index scores, and can the data be used to compare different I2 programs?
Oh, really good question. The Elanco Health Tracking System, we call it HTSI shorthand, it has more than 20 years of data and more than 6 million individual bird postmortem analyses. The data can be used to compare different I2 programs, and that's really one of the values of having this I2 index. This summer, I will be presenting at the AAAP meeting a statistically arrived analysis based on I2 index scores compared to coccidial lesions, looking at how different anticoccidial programs perform. So that'll be this summer, but even on a regular week to week basis, I like to look at historical trends when I'm doing posting sessions to generate I2 scores by comparing the program from today, say based on a program where I posted 10 weeks ago, or even a year ago. We can help the producers determine if there has been any slippage in the I2 score that may be costing them in production costs. Again, referencing a 10-point loss in I2 score represents 1.3 points of reduction in feed conversion. Very impactful.
Thank you so much, Francine, for answering those questions. Those are all the questions that came through today. So that will conclude our presentation this afternoon. Again, we thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as I mentioned before, please look for that recording to come to you later today. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a great rest of your afternoon.